Hello, Renee Flamont here. You guys, today's Off Topic Friday is very much on topic because I'm not done. How to stop being jealous is a different thing, right? Because you say to yourself, okay, Renee, that sounds great. Stop being jealous. Think the new supply is an ugly position. But how? What do I do inside? I got all this feeling. What do I do? How do I do that? How do I stop? When you're in that spot, and I was also, hi Min, I was in that spot and it seemed an impossibility for me to climb out. Impossible. I thought I'm never going to get out of this. How do I get out of this? This is a terrible spot. It feels like an endless pit of despair you're going to live in forever. Well, the good news is, and the truth of it is, you will be over the whole thing. Both of them, your ex and his new supply, before you even realize it. I'm going to unpack it and I'm going to tell you why you can't picture that right now. I understand that. I know. You're like, I've talked to some of you and you're like, I just can't snap out of the anger. I can't snap out. Okay. There are things you can do and must do to get through the time of transition, okay? This topic has more to do with getting yourself right than anything else. And you might not want to hear that because you want like an easy answer. It is an easy answer, but just listen. And I'm going to list all the things that I did and things that I've heard other people do to get myself right. But once you do that, you'll start to look down your nose at the narcissist, for sure. And that's where you may even encounter and find pity for the new supply. We know, let's get into it. We know, we've talked about it enough that we know Minnie's butt is with us. Is that not precious? We know that to get us in the beginning, we know by now that we had to have had a hole, right? A hole of self-pity, a hole in our vulnerability, a hole in our self-worth, something where we let them in. That has to exist in order for a narcissist to ensnare us. Because we've all known plenty of people that never get involved with a narcissist. You're like, what do they have? They have the following. Their self-worth is in perfect alignment. Their boundaries are set. They know that they're not going to break them and date someone that doesn't meet their parameters, their bar, their barometer, whatever you want to say. And what that comes from is maybe they didn't have to do a lot of work to get there. Maybe they just always had that. Some of us have to do a little work if we've lost our way. And the work that you're doing will help you get to a point that you stop being jealous, because you will get to a point that you do remember your worth and you do remember you are elevated above both these people and that neither one of them are good enough for your company, namely the narcissist to begin with. That's who you're concentrating on, not the new supply. The new supply, that's going to be a byproduct that you're going to have pity for them. But to stop being jealous of the narcissist, and I'm going to tell you how, you got to work on yourself and filling that. Once I did that, boy, I made a 180. You guys, 180. I said to my cousin, I was recently in North Carolina last week. I said to my cousin, you guys know what cousin I'm talking about, my lifelong best friend cousin. I said, I think about anybody that I've dated since I've been divorced. I would never even have dated one of them 2 times. Many of them not even the first time. I would have been like, yeah, nice to meet you, Joker, and I would have left. Why do I have that feeling now, and why can I see wide open now? Because I've worked on myself, and I've regained. When I was younger, I had a parameter set. I had boundaries. I don't know if age breaks us down, experience breaks us down, we're exhausted. Who knows where the hole comes from, right? And it could come from anything. Once I started working on that, I started to realize, oh my God, I would never ever date him now. So how could I be jealous of his new supply if I wouldn't even date him? I was not regretting, I like my path. But I was like, wow, I can't believe I even spent time with this cretin. Now, how do you get there so that you can't stop being jealous? You got to work on yourself. I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what a lot of you did. There were times that I was in the bed. This is way in the beginning, right? You can't get out of bed. Some of you are there. I get it. I get that. Okay. So give yourself that time. That's fine. You want to cry your eyes out. You want to watch a couple of tear jerkers. You want to read a couple of tear jerking books. Fine. Get that. Then get up. Right? Now, if you want to binge watch something, which you hear me say binge watch and you hear me say music a lot. Because if you play music and I play like a lot of dancing, and you're dancing around your house, it's kind of impossible not to smile, laugh, have fun, feel productive, not think of them. If you're binge watching something that you love, I highly recommend comedy at this juncture, or a thriller, something that encases your mind, or a series you like. You're not a binge watcher, become one. Something that really grabs you so that your mind is occupied off the narcissist. That's the first thing we're trying to do, get your mind off of them. Music, binge watching, okay, fine. Now we got to work on your psyche to elevate it, right? Music can do that, comedy, thrillers, intriguing TV, that can all do that, movies, whatever. But guess what? I'm not going to say go exercise, some people just hate it. It helped me though. Even just get out and take a walk around your block for 10 minutes. Get some vitamin D from the sun. Get on the phone with people who love you, who support you, who you can vent to. And I'm not saying you have to call and release every detail of your narcissist relationship. But when you're on the phone with someone who loves you and values you and you start having those fruitful, productive conversations again, because you probably haven't been talking to family and friends because a narcissist tends to keep you for themselves. When you start to reopen that, you get reminded of your value. Oh, I'm important to that person, right? Or go spend a weekend with a brother, a cousin, family, friends, whatever. Laugh for 3 days straight with your best friends. Laugh for 3 days straight with, you get reminded of your value, of your worth to them. And maybe you'll start to see yourself through their eyes. If you can't lift the veil of the hole that you have right away, maybe at least start to see yourself through your friend's eyes, through family that loves you. And kind of sit up straight and go, that's what happened to me. I was like, I'm a wonderful person. I know that I am. I know how I live. I know my truth. So then I started to say, okay, Renee, so what was that about? Why did you date him? And then the more I thought about it, jealousy wasn't even in the picture. Jealous? I was wondering why I went out with him. Look at me yelling. Because I still can't believe it. This guy from 10 miles away is nothing but trouble, shyster, con artist, blabbermouth, blowhard, absolute nomad, no path, nothing to his name, 63 years old. And I thought, good idea. That helped too. List the truth of your narcissist and look at it. List it. There's nothing redeeming about that, not one thing. So I'm going to be jealous. That's how I stopped my jealousy. It turned to pity. I started looking at the new supply, not looking at her. She's not here. But knowing he had this new supply, he was telling me about her. And I was like, I said to him, don't you feel bad what you're doing? You're here telling me you love me and you're there telling her you're her boyfriend? Don't you realize how pathetic that was? That is, I would say to him. I'm only there because you threw me out. I'd be here if you would allow. That's supposed to make me feel better for her? That shows me what a louse you are. How can you be jealous of that? I'm going to be jealous of the new supply, knowing he's doing that. He didn't mean it, that he loved me. He doesn't mean it when he tells her he loves her. I'm going to be jealous of that. I started feeling bad for her. I'm like, because he was definitely going to leave my house after coffee. He wasn't a part of my life anymore. And I'm thinking he's going to go back to her, and she thinks he's true. She thinks he's true. How do you stop being jealous? You have to find yourself again. And that might sound hokey, but it really, really is vital. Because then someone can't touch you, right? Again, we're in that place that has a hole, baby doll. So we're in that place that has a hole, and they get in. Well, if you start to do things and take measurements to seal up that hole, then you're not going to care that whether they're in or not anymore. Get therapy. I know it's expensive. I know I did a whole video on therapy. I respect it. Some people can't afford it. If you can't, if you're somebody that goes to church, talk to someone in your church. Find a friend. Find one confidant. Anybody. A stranger in a coffee house. You'll get their objective opinion, and it will agree with yours. Because no one would listen to the things that you have to say about how they mistreated you and go, oh yeah, you should be jealous of his new girlfriend. They'd go, you must be happy. Think about that, what a stranger would say. You must be happy to be out of that. Oh my God, the new supply, should you contact them and tell them? Which again, I told you in the Monday's video is about that. I did contact the new supply. It's been over a year. I never talked about it, but I'm going to talk about it next week. Probably all 3 videos I think are going to be devoted to it because there's a lot to unpack. But when you start to realize that you're starting to heal, whether it be vitamins, nutrition, working out, family, friends, laughter, dancing, whatever it is, a project, knit, read books, paint your house, anything. You're going to start to fill that hole and feel your value again. Remember who you are. Remember your worth. And before you know it, I'm telling you, you can't just think about these things and go, they're not going to work. That's not going to work. She's telling me to read a book. I'm in love with him. I'm not going to not love him because I read a book. It's a combination of anything, all of the things I've mentioned, and there are a million more that you can do that will eventually help you. Watching these videos, educating yourself, empowerment, right? This channel is all about education and empowerment. If you start building that up in yourself, I'm telling you, I started to go, I looked right down my nose at him. And I remember saying to him, but your behavior is so pathetic. I said it to him. Your behavior is so pathetic. Aren't you the slightest bit embarrassed of how you behave? Aren't you mortifyingly thinking about if your father were still alive, would he be it's disgusting. How could I be jealous? I'm telling you, it works. A lot of it might sound like you don't feel like it. You don't have the energy. You're in that bed. I understand. Some of you go to bed. Some of you can't sleep. Some of you eat a ton. Some of you eat nothing. There's things that we all do. And yes, there's a period of crying. We all do that. Get it done. You don't have to be there forever. Your place doesn't have to be in this place of crying, being jealous over new supply and wishing he'd come back to you. Think that through. Because if you're jealous of new supply, is that what you're thinking? You'd want him to come back to you? Would you really? And if so, that's another video. We need to look at your, what? Self-worth. Which we kind of talked about here. But that's a real... I don't want you thinking all you deserve is a narcissist mistreating you. That's the point of these videos. I want you to recognize, no, you deserve way more. So does the new supply, for that matter. Unless they're a narcissist too. Nobody deserves this treatment. And nobody should be jealous of the new person who's about to get this treatment. I can't say it enough. I guess that's why this week all 3 videos kind of centered around this topic. Look at me, I get all for tootsed. New supply gets all of us into a phase of a mess. And I cannot state it enough that it's the least thing you should be jealous about. Yet, we go crazy. Please take care of yourselves. Build yourself back up. Look at it through a different lens. Write things out, all the negative they did to you. That really did help me. I stared at it. I left it there for 3 months. It led me to a lot of these videos. It led me to a lot of self-awareness, staring at a long list of infractions that I allowed to be done to me, staring at that long list for 3 months before I erased it, made me cringe and made me turn many a corner. And one of them was jealous. I was looking at it and I'm looking over there because it was leaning right there. So I could see it from in here. I could see it when I entered my bedroom. I could see it when anything. And I would stare at it and I'd go, oh my God. And it just kept You let all that happen? I can't believe. And I would read it through sometimes. Sometimes I would just look at the amount of writing and I would think, you let all that happen? And now all that's going to happen to her and you think you're going to be jealous? He's a pathetic fool who will do this dance through the rest of his life and continue hurting people. And you're worth more. And you're unique. And you're special. And you have gifts, special gifts that somebody else will cherish and appreciate. And they will value you. And it's not about even finding somebody else to replace that person. Be alone. I'm alone. I don't want to date right now. I don't need to. Why? I build myself up. I think for many, many years I was looking for validation outside myself. And now I've realized, no, I need to, of course, it's basic. I'm 55. I finally know it. I want to build myself up so that I don't need that. Not only do I not need validation outside, I won't be swayed to go into an unhealthy relationship like the narcissistic personality disorder person offers, because I can look at it and say, nope, I'm not interested in what you're offering me. That's already happened to me 3 or 4 times, and I could smell it a mile away, their trouble. Nope, I'm not interested, thanks. Why? Because I've done all this work on myself, and within myself now, my hole is filled. I'm not jealous of the new supply. I'm not coveting the narcissist anymore. I don't want anyone darkening my doorstep from that whole scene. And you can get there too. Please give it some thought, you guys. You got to do the work on yourself, and you will eventually, it just happens. You will stop being jealous, I promise. I hope you have a good weekend. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you Monday.